Hi there, I'm Brian Heber from Leisure Travel Vans, and today we're going to be going through Firefly's 2.0 version of the Multiplex system. So this is the home screen right here. This is where we're going to be able to navigate. So you can see here you've got the lighting, electrical, climate, fans, coach tanks, diagnostics, and settings. These particular icons, they're going to stay in the same place the whole time from the main screen. The bottom section can be adjusted and that can be customized to however you would like to see it. So you can put different things down here. Okay, so we're gonna start by just going through each one of these main icons from the home screen. We'll step into the lighting screen. The lighting screen, you can see this is where you can control all the different lights within the coach. So you can see, you just press on that light and it'll turn on and off. It's also dimmable. You'll see that the ones that have the arrows on them, just a slider to go up and down. So these are just the interior switches. You can also press on the bottom here. You can see it says exterior. We'll press on exterior, and that's where you're gonna get the exterior lights, the awning, porch, assist handle, and the exterior baggage compartment light. You can see that the assist handle and the exterior baggage compartment lights, they're not dimmable lights. They don't have the little arrows within them like the porch and the awning do. You can also set different scenes if you want to. That's the third icon here. So if you press on this, any one particular of these screens, you can actually set these up. You can, again, set up the scenes, whichever ones you want to have on. You can confirm that. And now this will be a setting just for those lights only. So you can turn those lights on and off and also adjust the brightness of those particular lights as well. So going back to the interior, there's an interior master on and off. So turning that off, we'll turn all the lights off, turn it back on, we'll turn all the lights back on. Let's turn a few of these off like this. We'll turn it off and you can see all of them turned off. When we turn it back on, those same lights that we had on are still going to be on. From here, we're going to navigate back to the home screen again, pressing that home icon. Next one we're going to take a look at is the electrical screen. So we're going to press on the electrical. So here along the side, you can see the flow of the electricity inside the coach. Right now it's going from shore power. And if we just scroll down on this, you can see that it's going into the batteries. We'll start at the very top. You can see it's shore power, transfer switch, and inverter charger. So that's, again, the flow of how things are running right here. The shore power right now, you can see that we have this thing set to 30 amp shore power. But if you happen to be plugged in at a household circuit where it's only 15 amps and you don't want to risk blowing the breaker on the house, you can just reduce this down. So right here, we can press the negative and bring it down to 20 amp or even bring it further down to 15 amp. Once you're back in 30 amp circuit, then you can just pop that right back up to 30 amp. So for now, we'll just leave it on 15 amp because that's where we're set to right now. You can see the 3 amps that are coming into the batteries right there. Plus you can see the generator system right here. So the generator, if you want to start and stop the generator, that can be done right here just by pressing the start and disable. Starting it would then show the power running from the generator down to the breaker panel through the inverter. So you'd see this side would change right up at the top there. If we wanted to turn the inverter charger off or the inverter itself, if you turn the charger off right there, then you can see that the power has stopped going down to the batteries. So again, if I scroll down right there, you can see there's no power coming from the inverter charger anymore. But if I turn that back on, you'll see that the charger will then start sending the power back down to the batteries again. So also there, the inverter, right now we have the inverter turned on so that way you can operate everything inside the coach just like normal. So all the receptacles, the microwave, the air conditioner, that'll all work right now because we have the inverter turned on. We can turn that inverter off and then you'll see that the power will stop running from the inverter to the breaker panel as well. So if you want to look at some of the further details of these items, you can always press on the icon right there, the shore generator, and you can see the details of the shore power. We're set to 15 amp shore power. You can also see the voltage coming in, the amps and the hertz as well that are being used and supplied. Scrolling down, you can see the details of the generator as well. You can see right now it's not showing anything here because the generator is not running. We can press on the transfer switch. That gives you an idea as well as how the power is running and what's coming into the coach as well from the transfer switch, being from shore power or from the generator. Go back, we can press on the inverter charger, and again, you can see the different details that are in here as well. You can change some of the settings, but typically these settings are set from the factory and no need to change them. Going down, you can see the breaker box as well, and again, it just kind of gives you an idea of what's going on within the breaker box and how you're using the power inside the coach. If we happen to turn the air conditioner on, you'd see that some of these other things would change as well, like the HVAC AC and the heat pump or the dehumid mode. So just whatever's running from the air conditioner conditioner, you'd see that popping up right there. And you will see a shed as well. If the air conditioner turns on, it may say shed. All that's really doing is making sure that it's shedding the charger to make sure there's enough power to run the air conditioner. So it's particularly because we're set to 15 amps, it's not going to have enough power to run the air conditioner and full charger. So what it'll do is it'll shed that charger to allow the air conditioner to turn on. If you're set to 30 amps, then it'll have enough power to run both of those items. So now we'll just scroll down to DC power. So you can either press there at DC power, or you can press right here as well at the bottom, DC. So DC power is your battery power. And you can see how the battery is getting its power from the inverter or from the solar panels. We're just getting just a little bit of a trickle charge from the solar panel. That's only because we're indoors right now. If we're outdoors, you'd see a lot more charge coming in from the solar as well. And from the screen, you can see that's just the general voltage of the house batteries. We're sitting really good right now at 14 volts. And the chassis battery, it is a bit low at 12.2. So that's something that I'm going to want to consider charging very soon. Here again, you can control the inverter and the charger as well. And if you want to press on things like the battery, you can again see the little closer up detail of that, which is also shown right there. But also the solar, you can see how much is coming in from the solar panels and what's going into the batteries from the solar panels as well. Also gives you a bit of a history of how that's been running throughout the course of, in this case, 7 days. Next screen at the bottom here is AGS. So we'll just press on AGS. That's going to bring up the auto gen start screen. That's what AGS stands for, auto gen start. This is where you can enable the auto gen start, and you can enable for either low voltage or load trigger. So load would be your air conditioner if that needs to turn on. Set the parameters however you want, your quiet time. You can just change this to whatever you need it to be. A lot of national parks, they don't want you to run your generator at night, so you can set the quiet time, the max runtime of the generator, and also the different triggers that it has here as well. So if you were to set up the low voltage trigger, it would start when the voltage gets down to 11.2 volts, then the generator will start up and it's going to start charging those batteries back up. The time at the start volts is going to be at 15 seconds. So if it sees 11.2 volts for 15 seconds in this scenario, then that's when the generator is going to start up. It's going to run until it sees 13.2 volts in this case and stop when it's been at 13.2 volts for 5 minutes. So these you can set. Again, we'll bring these up a little bit. We can bring this up to, let's say, 14 volts. So now it'll stop when it hits 14 volts, but it has to stay at 14 volts for 5 minutes. Well, let's say we want it to be there for 15 minutes. So it'll charge the batteries at 14 volts for at least 15 minutes. That's what this is going to be right here. And again, just to enable it, we'll just press the enable or disable button, and it'll show you just a little caution to make sure that you're not running this indoors or in a dangerous environment. So we'll just press and hold that enable for 3 seconds. And now you can see the generator AGS is enabled. So now if we unplug from shore power, we walk away from our coach for a while and the battery voltage gets down to 11.2 volts, the generator will start and it will run for at least 15 minutes at 14 volts. So just to disable it, we'll just press the disable button and it's disabled. And if you do start your generator manually in between all this, then the AGS system will be disabled and you'll have to go back in and restart that again. So this will be the service interval for the generator. You can set the different service intervals and also reset that intervals here as well. Still in the electrical screen here, but we'll get back to our home screen just by pressing that home icon. From the home screen here, we're going to go next to the climate screen. So we'll press on climate. And another way to get over to your climate screen again is just to press that up in the top corner here where you see that the temperature display, you can press on that. So just in case if you are in a different screen, you can just press that icon up there. It'll bring you to the climate screen as well. So there's a couple different settings that you can do on here, and that'll depend on your floor plan. So at the top of the screen, you're going to see that it says cool. We're going to press the cool icon. That's going to want to turn the air conditioner on. And anytime you have it set to cool, when that's lit up, the air conditioner will turn on and the fan will run at a very slow speed continuously. It will not turn off even if it's on auto. You can turn it to low, medium, or high if you want to, but we'll turn it back to auto. And here again, you can just set the temperature controls by either using the arrows or using the scroll along the side here as well. So we'll set that pretty low and the air conditioner is turning on. It's got a high speed fan because it's trying to get the temperature back down. So it's set to high speed and it'll eventually hit that set point and then turn off. However, the fan will continue to run at that low speed anytime that cool is on. So next thing we'll do is we'll change it over to heat pump. That's what this heat is indicating. So same idea as the cool. We're going to set our temperature to wherever we want it. Once we get it high enough, and the heat pump will turn on in order to get the coach warmed up. Turn the fan on to whatever speed you want as well if you want to. but typically just leave it on automatic and it should be fine. So we'll turn off the heat pump and we can go to furnace. We're in a corner bed right now, a Unity corner bed. So it's got a Suburban furnace and you'll see that it has furnace icon right there. On the Wonder MBL, you're gonna see that it says Vario Heat or air heater. That's gonna be down here below, so that'll take you to a different screen as well. So in this case, because we have the Suburban furnace, we'll just select furnace to be on, and you can set your temperature to wherever you want it, either by using the arrows. And you can see that the flame icon is turned on right now, indicating that the furnace is turning on, and I can hear it kick in, the fan turned on. And you can also set that temperature just by using this scroll along the side as well. So you'll see that scroll up and down, and that'll give you your set point as well. So you can see I've got the set point to 33 degrees Celsius. So it's gonna get pretty warm in here if I leave it like that. So I think I'm gonna just turn that back down. Maybe set that to a more comfortable 20 degrees, or we can just bring that back down again by using these arrows here as well. And also, if I don't want that furnace to turn on at all, we'll just press the furnace icon and the furnace won't turn on. At the very bottom, you can see auto. So when you press the auto, what that's gonna do is it's either gonna heat or cool using the air conditioner. So it's essentially selecting either cool or heat. It's not gonna use the furnace, but it'll use the air conditioner to either heat or cool. So again, when we raise the temperature up or down, it'll turn on, and it's gonna be using the heat pump to actually bring the temperature up to my set point. Heat pump is of course only gonna be used when it's about 4 degrees Celsius or warmer. Otherwise it may not function at all. If it's gonna be below 4 degrees Celsius, you're gonna wanna use the furnace and not the heat pump. So here again, we can just bring the temperature back down, and now it's gonna change over to cooling as opposed to heating using the air conditioner. And there again, to turn it off, we'll just press the auto and it'll turn off. So in the top left corner here, you're gonna see it says dehumid and quiet. So quiet mode, we'll just give it a very low speed fan and it'll just stay low like that for the whole time. It won't ramp up to a very high speed. And also when you're on dehumid mode, what that's gonna do is gonna run the fan and the compressor continuously. So as soon as I press that, I could hear the compressor turn on. So it's gonna use that compressor to take the humidity out of the coach. So that's the dehumid feature. So when you have it set to dehumid, it's gonna be running continuously. It will not pay attention to the temperature wherever you have it set. It'll just keep running until you turn it off. Okay, so we're done on the climate screen, so back to the home screen. Next screen we have here is fans. So we're gonna press on fans, and pretty simple to use this here too. We've got 2 fans inside this coach. We've got the one in the galley, one in the bath. Right now the fan in the galley is actually open, so we're gonna close that fan just to make sure it stays closed. And we're gonna turn the bathroom fan on, but you do wanna make sure anytime you turn the fan itself on, make sure the fan setting on the fan itself is set to at least 1, 2, or 3. So now we're done using both of the fans, so we'll turn everything off. The close will turn off because it is closed right now, and we can go back to our home screen again. So next page we're going to take a look at is the coach page. So we're going to press on that one. This will give you an idea of all the switches that are inside your coach and the status of those switches. So the switches that we're looking at are those remote switches that are battery operated throughout the coach. And so you can see this one has in the entry, galley, washroom, bedroom, and slide out. There are those 5 switches that are throughout the coach, and this is just giving you the status. You're going to see the signal status right there. You can see the battery levels of each one of these as well. They have little CR2032 batteries inside them that can be replaced. If this ever does get down to the red zone, you can pop those switches off the wall and you can replace them with new batteries. And if by chance it happens that a switch is not paired properly, if you get a new switch or if it's had a dead battery long enough, you may need to pair it again. In order to pair the switch, you're just going to press on the switch and it'll pop up as switch pairing. All you do is press start pairing, and you'd have approximately 28 seconds to go and press any 2 buttons on that remote panel in order to pair it. It may take a little while for some of this to populate as it refreshes, so you won't see everything right away, but if the switches are working fine, then that shouldn't be a problem. So another thing you can do in the coach setting, you can go over to the utilities, and this is where, if you do have a satellite dish option, this is where you're going to be turning that satellite dish on and off. Okay, so now we'll go back to our home screen again. Okay, so our next screen we're gonna go to is tanks. We'll press on tanks, and this just gives you an idea of what the tank levels are at inside your coach. Fresh, gray, black, and LPG. And you can see that the LPG on this tank, it is full. That means it's at its 80% capacity of the tank. So it doesn't mean that the tank is completely full. It's at the tank's 80% capacity, which is considered full for a propane tank. So from the tank screen here, you can see the water pump icon is right there. So pressing that water pump icon will turn the water pump on or off, which can also be done throughout the coach at the galley as well as the bathroom, and outside there's alternate switches as well to turn that water pump on. So all there really is on the tank screen. So we'll go back to our home screen. Next page is the diagnostics. If you ever have any issues with the coach, you're going to press on the diagnostic screens and you're going to see that there's the configuration versions of both the LCD screen and the G12. G12 is the brains of the multiplex system. The location of that varies throughout the different floor plans that we have. But if you're ever calling in for requests for service or have questions about your coach, we may be asking you for these versions. So just keep that in mind, that if we do ever ask for it, go over to diagnostics and just let us know what these versions are. So in this case, it's version 7.1.2 and 7.1.2. They should always match as well. So if it doesn't match, there's probably an issue. Green icon right there is just indicating that everything is working properly for both the LCD screen and the G12. If we go over to the G12 icon down here, you can now take a look at what's all operating off of that G12 module. This is more for diagnostics again. There's not much you're going to do with here on a daily basis, but if you want to, you can scroll through here just to see what's actually operating off of the G12. You can see those green lights are indicating that things are turned on, or at least that they have power present to them. Let's take a look at the shower light. Right now the shower light icon is on. That says that there's power present at the light. Because that light has a switch on it, it's not strictly controlled by here. So right now the G12 is sending power to that so you can control it from the switch at the shower. Otherwise, the other ones, the galley lights, porch lights, and assist lights, those lights are controlled from the Firefly. You'll be able to turn that on and off, and you'll see that green light turn on and off. We'll click on other. That's going to take us to different things for the information for, let's say, the solar controller. You can scroll down and you can see the different versions of what the solar controller is, firmware version, the model number, all that information is there. You can get a little bit more detail from the solar controller there as well. We'll go back and we'll go into the inverter one here. And again, you can see the inverter. It also gives you the information on who to call from Xantrex if you ever need to get a hold of Xantrex. So again, under the inverter, you can see right here, it's got the different firmware versions and the model of the inverter. And we'll click on climate and the Truma here as well. This will be the Truma Aventa air conditioner. It also gives you the different versions of that device as well. And you notice as well on the Truma Aventa, it does also have a Firefly library version, as does the Xantrex. It's also got a library version, and so does the solar control. So that's also information that we may ask if we're ever needing to troubleshoot anything. From the fault screen, this is where you can see if there ever is a fault that pops up in that triangle on the home screen or any of the other screens. If you see that triangle pop up, if you press on that, it'll take you to this screen right here. From here, you can scroll through the different components to see what is causing that fault. So in this one is the output. There is no fault here, but you can go to the electrical screen, climate, coach, system, or other. And if there's a fault, it'll show up in one of those. And you'll see these turn red as well. So this will turn red, and then you'll be able to press on whichever one is red, and it'll show what the fault is right there. All right, so we'll head again back to our home screen. Next one now will be going into settings. So settings, this is where you can change the brightness of this screen. So you can just scroll this back and forth. You can do the screensaver. You can change the screensaver. That's just whenever the screen will go dark. So you can set this down to all the way from 1 minute all the way up to 30 minutes. So we'll just leave this one at 30 minutes for now. Close that. And of course, there's different themes that you can try out as well too. So it'll apply a different theme as soon as I press on that, give it a minute, and it'll pop up and it'll have a different theme on the screen as well. And you will have to give it a little bit of time just to boot up again, and then it'll bring your new theme back up. So now you can see the theme looks just a little bit different, a bit of a different color palette is really all that is. So we'll set this one to whatever we want, but we'll just set this one back to the original. So on the bottom of this column right here, you can see it says default page. We'll press on that. So what this will do, if you wanted to revert back to a default page after a certain time, you can make it do that. So we'll just, instead of it being disabled, we'll enable that, and you can change the default page to whatever page you want it to be. And however long that's going to be, you can change that interval as well. So let's say it's going to be after 100 seconds, it will revert back to the lighting page. As soon as we turn that off, if we wait about 110 seconds, it'll take us back to the lighting page. Another thing you can do with this is change the different favorites. So if we want to customize the favorites of what are found at the bottom of that home page. So again, this home page right here, this is the home page, these favorites right here. So we can change what those are. So we'll go into customize favorites, and this gives you an idea of where these different icons are. So it kind of gives you a different allotment of how much space is available, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That gives you an idea of what can go where. So you can press on these things to choose what you want to go in those different areas. So let's say if we want the HVAC to go over there, that would let you know that that's how much space it's going to take up. You can save that. And if we exit and go back to our home screen, now you can see that it's moved the climate icon right over here. So this is just a quick hit icon that you can click on to just to change the temperature inside the coach as well. So a bit of a shortcut. So we'll go back into favorites, customize the favorites. And again, maybe we want over in this corner, that's where we actually want the climate to be. But over here, again, we can choose something else if we want, like maybe the fans, the galley, and the bath. We can choose both of those. The galley will go there, and we'll put the bath right there. And we'll hit save. And when we go back to the home screen, now you can see that I've saved those fans to be right there. So now we can just operate this all straight from here. Right here, you're going to see it says screen cleaning mode. So right now, if I were to clean the screen and start wiping it down, I'm going to end up pressing a whole bunch of icons and turning stuff on and off that I don't want to. So just press the screen cleaning mode, and for 15 seconds, it'll go completely blank. So you can actually clean the screen. So you can see it says screen cleaning mode, and in the lettering right there, you can see it says will revert to previous screen in 8 seconds at this point. So it's a total of 15 seconds that you had to clean the screen. So after those 15 seconds, the screen will go back to the screen that it was on. So if you ever get to a point where you don't like the settings that you had and you'd like to go back to the way everything was, there's just screen defaults. You can press on that and it'll go back to the original settings for the screen. So along the bottom here, that was dealing with the screen. We're going to press the system, and system will just enable you to be able to set things like the time, the date, and the temperature units. So right now we're set to Celsius. We can change the time and we can change the date here as well. So that's just where that's done. And at the bottom, you can see mobile apps. So this is the app that you'd be using when you want to connect to the system through Bluetooth. You can see right here, it says RV Plus. That's the type of module that's inside the coach and the app that you want to look for on your phone. So I've got the RV Plus turned on right now. I've got the app installed and I've just opened it up, and it says module ID. So if I press on module ID, it's going to show me all the different RV Plus modules that are around. So right now we're inside the factory, so there's quite a few modules. All we're going to do is just match up that number. So RV Plus L, and that final number right there, you can see matches this one, 542036, 542036. We'll press on that one. And then the pin is right there as well. So the default pin is 77777, and we'll just hit authenticate, give it some time, and it'll start authenticating and it'll connect to the system. So we'll ask you to change the pin if it was still the factory pin. So we'll just change that pin right now for factory use. We'll just change that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Change yours to whatever you like and confirm that. And now you can see that you can control everything inside the coach. So again, you can control everything from your app. And that should also, when you go back to your lighting screen, you should be able to see that reflect in here as well. So when I press this on and off, you can see it reflect in there as well. So the other thing at the bottom of the settings screen, you can find that anywhere from on the settings screen, is you're going to see this icon right here. That's just the floor plan that you have on your coach. This is, again, a corner bed coach, a Unity corner bed, and it has that GUI and CCM version. Those, again, are the LCD screen and the G12 module inside the coach. Those are those versions that we may ask for if we need that at any point. So just keep that in mind. The 712, 712, those are some versions that we may ask for from the settings screen. So a little bit of a hidden menu right here for service purposes. If we press and hold on this icon, we'll press and hold on that for a couple seconds, and it'll pop up with this warning, and we'll just hit continue. And here you can actually change the different settings for the coach. So again, you can run through the things like the generator hours can be set from the LCD screen. It's not setting the hours on the generator itself, but it's setting the hours right here. And you can change the inverter settings here as well. You can get into the inverter controls. This is where you can control all of the inverter settings. You can change that all. Solar controller, there's a couple different pages. Keep that in mind. There's often more than just one page. The overrides, again, not often would you be getting into this stuff. That's more for if we were getting to some serious troubleshooting. We're going to be asking you to potentially do a clear EEPROM, or maybe clear all wireless switches, or an EMS override. So at this point, we're not going to go into that. Floor plan, this is where you'd select a floor plan. Again, there's no reason to change this. This is a corner bed, so no reason to change it to anything else. For climate, here's where you can select if the coach has either AC or heat pump, and the auxiliary heat, whether it be a Suburban furnace or the Vario heat furnace. All set by the factory, so no need to change them unless there are issues. Different coach options, awning, dinette slide, satellite power. We don't have a power awning or dinette slide that is connected to the LCD panel, so that will always be blank. The satellite power will be on if the coach is actually supplied with the optional satellite dish. That's where you'd be turning the power on for the satellite dish. Under electrical, here too, you can select the different things like the Xantrex battery. There's one Go Power battery. That means there's one bank of batteries. So this coach has 2 batteries, that's one bank. So make sure that stays on one. Going down, you can select a few other things like different type of generator, the shore breaker size for the generator as well. We'll go over to other, and there too, you can just select if the coach has the Truma Aqua Go with the CP Plus. This coach does not have the CP Plus, so the Truma Aqua is not controlled through this panel. It's controlled through a different control dial. So we'll not turn that on, but on an MBL, that's where you'd be turning this on, as well as the antifreeze capability. If the TrueMat AquaGo does have the antifreeze kit, then that's where you could turn that on, so it can be controlled from the LCD panel as well. So to exit, we'll just hit the X button and we'll go back to the home screen. So that was the walkthrough on the Firefly 2.0 interface. Thanks for watching.